we just let them run because they were like really at the heart of what we were doing. And so
were all the Google acquisitions that you noticed, were they about bringing those teams and those concepts in, or were they about eliminating a competitor?
Oh, no. Eliminating a competitor, to buy a competitor just to eliminate a competitor was a waste of time. It was to get good people. Mm-hmm. And a lot of the acquisitions were around getting technology and people who were aside us. Because as innovative as the company is, it's a search company. Mm-hmm. It's probably not an accident that Facebook exists as an independent notion.
Yeah.
It's not clear it's clear Google could have done Facebook technically with its eyes closed. But culturally there is you just can't get there from here. So you can't do everything.
Right.
And so
well, it's the world's information though.
Well, that's a big enough challenge. Organize and present all the world's information and make it universally accessible. That's a fairly big challenge.
It's a huge challenge, yeah. Where do you see the future of Google with mobile devices and?
It's all about making information available. And in all forms, in all kinds of ways. I think that mobile devices continue to be extremely challenging. The small screens, limited real estate, terribly poor connectivity, even though it's pretty good in many ways. Mm-hmm. And the most important problem with mobile devices, I think, turns out to be the problem of input-output. Just, my thumb is starting to get a little bit of a sore spot right here from whatever you do, keyboarding or whatever it is the kids call this behavior. But I know it is pushing on these stupid little keys. And I happen to have a Google Android, and the P key, which is up here, doesn't work well, and I have to push on it real hard. Yeah. And I'm starting to develop.
Really?
I don't know what I'm going to do. Maybe I'll just stop spelling anything with a P in it. Just skip it. But the problem is this is where technology goes awry. The new Android has the spell improver. And if you don't find the magic place where you can get rid of it, it will, if you're not careful, it will improve your spelling for you. And a number of my people have commented on some of my memos recently. They are incomprehensible. So, technology gone astray.
Yeah. Did you, at the time when you were there, was there a notion to get into green technology, green tech applications? Is that an initiative that you're seeing at Google right now?
Absolutely. The founders, Larry in particular, Larry Page, was extremely interested in green technology and trying to be energy efficient and be careful. And a lot of what we did was self-serving. I mean, it turns out Google's power bill is one of its largest costs.
Yeah.
And so very efficient computers. And we worked very hard with the computer industry to get the more advanced multi-core processors optimized for what we would call Google computations per watt. So you got the most Google computation out of a watt of energy that you could, which is different than the solution you're going to go for if you're going to build the fastest possible scientific or engineering workstation.
Yeah.
Completely different design point. Turns out it's really the right design point for laptops.
Yeah.
So that was one thing we did. When I first got there, the founders were very interested in, what do they call them? The space elevators. There's a name for it.
Yeah, that's it.
Space elevator?
Yeah.
Right. So there was always talk about Google would eventually get big enough to go work on problems like that. Now that they lost me on that one.
They
had sort of a boundless vision for what could be done. And it was, I think, part of a culture of you cannot be afraid of the future. You must think boldly.
You know about this search engine that has a black screen that's supposed to save all sorts of money, but not having actually white pixels? What's
No.
that called? Does anybody know? What is it? Okay.
Oh, it's just
Just a black screen, a search engine. And I
They
think
just-
it actually uses Google's back end, doesn't it? Yeah.
but it just, instead of white, has black.
And supposedly it's 40% less energy.
Yeah, maybe true.
Yeah.
But the question is, can people read it?
But with that, we're gonna open up to the to questions from the audience. We have a question, Melissa?
I do. Hi, Wayne. You touched just a little bit on the environment of saying yes as being empowering and no as being very limiting or negative. And I just wanted to hear a tiny bit more about your management style and how you handled people that came to you with a good idea. I mean, I've heard you say before that you want people to gravitate toward what they love to do, and that creates a successful work environment.
Well, that was my answer. It really is true. If you treat people with great respect and you figure out how to, harness their passion so they make it happen. There's a joke in there a couple people will get. Then you get, I can't tell you what the result is quantitatively, but you get twice as much. And no is deadly in an innovative environment. There's a time for it, and there's a place for it. And I can say no, but usually no's are based on sort of incontrovertible facts, not based on my opinion about what I think might work or what might not, but something extremely factual.
I've got a question that I actually, sorry, I picked it up on Facebook when I was asking people to give me questions for you. And it's kind of a long question, but it's a good one. And it's this. One of Google's central tenets, in addition to identification of information, is validation of that information. Google's strength, perceived or real, is not just results of a search, but also accurate and useful results of a search. So identity verification occurs by three methods: user information, social security, birth date, mother's maiden name; carrier, smart card, license, passport; biometrics, face and voice recognition; gait interpretation, retinal scan, fingerprint. So the question is, can Google search algorithms, the algorithm that drives a search engine, be applied to the field of identity verification to improve the speed and applicability of biometrics? It's actually a physician who asked this.
Yeah, it's a good question. Actually, probably not so easily. The technology.
I'm looking for him in the audience right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, there he is.
The technology bent and transmorgified could deal with many of those questions.
Should we start a company after this?
What?
Anyone? Should we start a new business?
I'm busy.
I'll come up with something. What do you think really defines today's Web 3.0, the next thing, the next true evolution of all technology online?
Let me see. I would say there are two things that really will change things. Is when we really get seamless interconnectivity all over the world. And more importantly, connectivity that does not have political barriers associated with it.
Like the Great Firewall of
The
China?
Great Firewall of China.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. Just take down that wall too, please. Okay. But we have to have connectivity for all this stuff to really pay off. Mm-hmm. And you cannot have political entities of any form investing